This is the Synthetic Signal Report for Friday, March 27th, 2026, in the afternoon. Today's report analyzes GitHub's new policy on training AI using private repositories, a significant supply chain attack on the Lite-L-L-M library by the group Team PCP, and the internal battle at Microsoft over mandatory user accounts. We also examine fuel rationing in Slovenia, capability-based security in Redox-O-S, and a new clinical link between Agent Orange and blood cancer. Finally, we look at the Phish-N-Chips study regarding the security of system prompts and a landmark addiction trial involving Meta and YouTube. GitHub has sparked widespread concern by automatically opting users into a program that uses private repositories to train its Copilot AI models. Users who wish to keep their proprietary code out of training datasets must manually opt out by April 24th, 2026. The setting is found within the Copilot Features menu in the main account settings. The move is highly controversial because private repositories are frequently used by companies to store sensitive intellectual property and internal security logic. Critics argue that an opt-out policy for such sensitive data is a fundamental breach of the user agreement. Technical analysts note that if developers fail to toggle this setting, their internal code patterns and architectural secrets could potentially be leaked through the suggestions provided by the AI to other users. This development follows a broader industry trend where platforms are aggressively seeking high-quality, private data to improve model performance, often at the expense of user privacy. A major supply chain attack has hit the Python Package Index, or PyPI. The library known as Lite-L-L-M has been backdoored by a hacking group identified as Team PCP. The attackers successfully compromised the package to steal credentials and authentication tokens from developers. Lite-L-L-M is a critical piece of infrastructure for many AI companies because it acts as a universal gateway to multiple model providers like OpenAI and Anthropic. By compromising this single library, Team PCP has potentially gained access to thousands of API keys and private data streams. This attack highlights the extreme vulnerability of modern AI development pipelines, where a single malicious update to a popular library can result in a massive exfiltration of sensitive cloud credentials. Security teams are urged to audit their build environments and check for any versions of Lite-L-L-M installed in the last 48 hours. A group of employees within Microsoft is reportedly organizing to stop the mandatory requirement for Microsoft accounts during the setup of Windows 11. Currently, the operating system forces a sign-in with an online account, making it difficult for users to maintain local-only systems or perform installations without an internet connection. The internal resistance centers on the argument that this requirement alienates privacy-conscious users and creates unnecessary friction for system administrators. While Microsoft has pushed the mandatory account policy to drive cloud service adoption and data collection, the pushback from its own staff indicates a growing divide between marketing objectives and the technical needs of the user base. This conflict reflects a larger debate in the industry about the erosion of local sovereignty over personal hardware. Slovenia has become the first country in the European Union to introduce fuel rationing. The government has implemented strict limits on the amount of fuel that can be purchased at a single time to combat a regional energy shortage. This move is a reaction to shifting geopolitical tensions and supply chain disruptions that have made traditional energy imports increasingly volatile. The rationing is expected to have a significant impact on local logistics and transportation sectors, potentially signaling a trend toward more aggressive state-controlled resource management across the continent. In an under-the-radar development, the Redox-O-S project has implemented capability-based security for its namespaces and current working directories. Funded by NLNet, this change is a signal from the future of operating system security. Unlike traditional systems that rely on broad user permissions, Redox-O-S now treats the ability to access a folder or a process as a specific, granular capability that must be explicitly granted. This microkernel approach reduces the overall attack surface by ensuring that even if a program is compromised, It cannot move laterally through the system without the correct tokens. It is an objective shift away from the legacy security models of Unix and Windows, prioritizing a least privilege architecture from the ground up. Researchers have released a study titled Phish-N-Chips, which identifies the system prompt of an AI agent as a primary attack surface. The study analyzed 11 different models under 10 prompt strategies and found that prompt model interaction is a first-order security variable. In some cases, the phishing bypass rate for AI email agents was as high as 97%. This means that an attacker can use a carefully crafted email to trick the AI into ignoring its security protocols and performing unauthorized actions. The research proves that the configuration of an AI agent can make the difference between near-perfect threat detection and total blindness, emphasizing the need for more robust prompt engineering standards. A new study has established a definitive link between Agent Orange exposure and MDS blood cancer. For decades after the Vietnam War, veterans struggled to prove that exposure to this specific herbicide caused this type of leukemia. This research finally provides the clinical evidence needed for veterans to seek specialized care and benefits. It is a major development in clinical toxicology, showing that the long-term biological effects of chemical warfare agents can take over 50 years to fully manifest in a population. Community chatter is currently focused on a critical vulnerability in the NotesNook app, where a flaw in the web clipper can be escalated to full remote code execution on desktop systems. Analysts are also tracking a high-severity code injection in HappyDOM, a JavaScript browser implementation, and a use-after-free vulnerability in Substance 3D Stager. In emerging tools, the project working with OI by the developer Justinio is seeing rapid adoption as a framework for teaching AI integration. Additionally, security researchers are warning of a surge in phishing campaigns hosted on Google Docs, which use presentation slides to bypass automated scanners. Finally, the MobileNext server has been found to have a path traversal vulnerability, potentially exposing sensitive mobile screenshots and screen recordings to unauthorized actors. This concludes the synthetic signal report for Friday,